Great news. The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com. 2022 was a great year. Between myself and Custom Life, we gave away a ton of cool prizes.
Guess what? We're giving stuff away.
We wanted to kick off 2023 in a big way. So we want to thank AccuAir for hooking us up to hook you up. Frank, heads up.
What incarnation? Just kidding. We are giving away this AccuAir E-Level Plus kit. And all you guys got to do to win it is either go to livelifecustom.com or grinder-tv.com. And for every $5 you guys spend on either one of those websites, get you one entry into the drawing.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Last week we had a question and answer episode, and we're continuing this one because we're shooting these in the same day.
Yes.
We just finished, and now we're picking it back up. But thanks for checking out last week's episode, and welcome to this week's episode, The Drop.
This is
with Frank and Brian.
episode 37.
Is it? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I need to go change that because I called it episode 35. So the last one was 36.
You called the last one episode 36?
No, but like when I changed the name of the file.
When you exported it?
Yeah. So I got to fix that, but it's no big deal. But okay. So episode 37, here we are.
It gets so on the filing system.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
I know.
I have one separate hard drive dedicated to the Drop.
Mm-hmm.
And that has all of our giveaways on it. And it has every episode. So in each episode, like episode 1, it has the final thing and the 2 pieces of the thumbnails. That's all I keep.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I don't keep any of the raw footage.
I only keep the raw footage up until the next issue the next episode drops.
That's exactly how I do it. Yeah.
So
I don't know. What was your point with all that? I'm all eagerly waiting. Go on.
So what I was going to say, you should change. Yeah, because the filing system gets all weird. Because sometimes it'll go weeks before I kind of clean things out.
Oh.
So I'll be like episode 32, 33, 34, and I'm like, oh, I got it.
No, what I thought you were going to say is like the way that I send you the file. I try to make it as simple as possible, but like since I have so many different files, like I try to clean it up at least by like the audio. Like this is episode 35_1_2. So
yeah, that's all works really well. So
that's good.
We started last week's episode that we were going to answer a bunch of questions, and then we halfway through it we were like, oh, we haven't answered anyone's questions yet.
We did. We answered a couple questions.
We did, but the whole thing was mostly about other stuff, and then we did. So this one's going to be pure questions.
You told me a couple episodes ago. It's all about the conversation.
I like the conversation,
and that's what we were doing. All of these questions are more. The questions are more like a springboard into the next topic.
When is this issue? I keep saying issue?
Yeah, that's weird. You never said that before.
I never have.
Yeah. This will be the
16th.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because the 9th is this coming Monday, and then the 16th is the following Monday. Yep. So the 16th. Happy January 16th, everybody. Hope everybody's having an awesome first couple weeks of the year.
It's Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah.
That's cool. So everybody has a day off. So thanks for spending your day off with us on the Drop.
Unless you're driving to work listening to this at like 3 o'clock in the morning, then happy day at work that you don't get off. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about your problems.
Get a better job. Just kidding.
That goes again back to the conversations that we're talking about, like about, the proving or trying to say something to be proved. Like, I got a real job. I don't take the day off.
I don't take days off. I work 80 hours a week. Yeah. Like, sorry,
relax.
That sucks.
It sucks. You got to go to work. Some people do, some people don't. But
I don't.
Either way, thanks for coming and checking out the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We do. We really do. So, and we have more questions. So,
what do you want to jump into? What do you want to jump into here?
Whichever one you want. You're taking the lead.
Oh, I'm taking the lead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to get right into the theft one?
Yeah, because I'm a little unclear on that, so we can go into that one.
It's definitely a weird, because it's not really like a topic thing. It's just something that happened, and like we can just figure it out as we talk about it.
So the question is I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So gasoline _images. He said, and I only screen capped this, so I didn't see the whole thing, but essentially, his truck, his C10, got stolen.
Oh, okay.
At Good Guys Columbus last summer, and they never found it. So, and it wasn't at the Good Guys show. It was at the hotel early in the morning, obviously, because everyone hangs out. But he said basically like, I haven't replaced my truck as of yet, but when I do, I have to come up with a game plan to not let this happen again. So whether it's hiring private security or having guys in my group take shifts throughout the night, like he's dead serious about like, staying in his truck. This truck meant like all of our vehicles mean the world to us. And if they get stolen, then but this was like extra devastating to him for various reasons.
Man, that's a bummer.
Yeah. Cause I mean, imagine like your 4Runner's your 4Runner, but imagine if that was like your mom gave it to you, or it was your dad's 4Runner, or if it was someone so, every vehicle has a different emotional attachment, so every circumstance is different. But
so I actually have two vehicles that carry that like sentimental attachment, and funny enough, I've thought about both sides of it. So I have two cars. I have a '55 Chevy Bel Air. I got that car when I was 13. So if our longtime listeners know that my family had a vintage car lot, and we bought and sold a lot of cars. And that was one of the very first cars that was given to me from my parents, was a 55 Chevy Bel Air. And then I have an 83 Cadillac DeVille that was my granddad's car. But not in the fact that it was my granddad's car and he like drove it all the time, and I had these great memories of riding in the car with him.
That's what
it was merely he had this car, and then he passed away in the late 90s, and then it hung around, and then I just, you know what I mean? So
that's kind of what I was saying. Like every circumstance is different, because some people hate their parents, and if they had their parents' car, they would just like, I want it to get stolen.
I mean, that's true too.
But also I don't, let me finish this question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Throughout the night, watch the vehicle staying further away. Oh, he said, another thing, or stay further away from the host hotels and venues, or at what point is it just not worth it to go to big out of town shows anymore? Signed, Mike Brooks.
Sounds like. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. Just to get right into it, I don't think it matters if it's a big in town or out of town show, because crime happens no matter where you're at. You could be in some small town thing and your truck gets broken into, or at Lake Paris when at the Forbidden Show, people's tailgates got stolen before, and it doesn't matter where you're at. Like it's a risk, like
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like when you invest so much money into these things, and now you're taking these things and you're like taking different places to show off and attend shows and just hang out, you're taking on an inherent risk. I'm trying to like categorize my thoughts here. Firstly, maybe this truck wasn't bagged, because like in my mind, if you lay the truck out, like, my AccuAir controller, thank you AccuAir for donating the E-Level Plus kit. But yeah, my AccuAir controller just unplugs. So like if I really was concerned about it, I would just lay my truck out, take the controller. It's like, how are they going to steal that? It's on the ground.
Yeah, I don't think his truck was bagged.
I don't think this was bagged. So yeah, that opened it up.
And Chevy trucks are inherently easy to steal.
Right.
And I don't know if you follow the roadkill stuff on Motor Trend, but they had they had a Mazda with a rotary engine in the bed, and they stopped in Blythe at a hotel, and it got stolen. And they never found it. But someone put it on a trailer. So if your truck's laid out on the ground, it's pretty.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere unless someone has it, knows what they're doing. But
right, or they have like rare. This like a. If that was the case, then someone would. Like that truck is getting stolen any which way, because like they have a plan. Like, I'm going to steal this truck.
And you probably know who they are.
Exactly.
So I would think the entire the answer to this question, we just answered it. Bag and body drop your truck.
Yeah, that's really not going anywhere. Jeez. Well, my thing was like, first of all, this guy, like this particular person sounds like, it sounds like I don't know how to word this correctly. Like, I don't know, like if, like you said, if my 4Runner got stolen, I'd be like, damn. But it was insured, and I would just like go get money for it and build another truck, you know. Like, but I think this guy's scenario is very, very unique. You know?
I think it is too, because from his posts and knowing him.
Oh, you know this person?
I know, like, we're not like best friends or anything, but I do know who he is. We met before, and then just seeing the way that he was posting about it after it happened.
Yeah, it's like losing a member of the family.
Very emotional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
it reminded me of like losing a pet or something, to where like, you know, it seemed like he worked very hard for this, and like he dumped everything he had into it.
Yeah.
You know, and so when that gets taken away from you, it's almost like the anger that you have is
so to finish the thought that I was saying before about the cars that I've had in the car lot. I was about 12 years old, and on the car lot, my dad bought this 59 Edsel. It was a 59 Edsel 4-door hardtop. So you can see like my love of 4-door cars goes way, way deep. So we had this car. I loved that car. It was pink. It was a pink car. It was pink and white outside. It had black interior, and it drove so nice, and it rides so nice. And I love this car. So when my family did sell it, I was devastated. So I could actually sympathize and understand what that guy was. I mean, not completely, but I do have an idea on what that guy was going through, because I've experienced that before. Now, the thing of my other cars is, and I was just talking about my 83, my granddad's car. You know, there was a long time where I was like, I'll never get rid of this car. It means so much to me. But I had an epiphany a while ago, over this last year, that like, it's fine. You know, like it's like the journey is kind of over with that thing, you know, and that's not, and I want to be very careful not to diminish what he was going through, because
his journey was just beginning. It seems like. So it's obviously, we're not saying this, but I think one of the most important things to do, and we've talked about this when you were going to LA and you had your camera equipment.
Oh yeah,
and you're just like I'm worried about, because if someone peeks into your car, thievery is usually opportunistic, right? So if your car's unlocked, if your car's locked, that's step one. It's 90% of your problems. It's not going to happen. If your car's unlocked, it's 100% going to get gone through, whether it gets stolen or not. But if you look in there and there's a phone, when I get gas, when I pull up to the gas station, my phone goes in my center console or with me, because if it's sitting on the center console, you could get in that truck. This is $1,000 phone.
Yeah, just open it and take it. I do that all the time.
It's gone.
I should maybe stop doing that.
If someone looks in there and they see a phone, they're gonna try to get in there. If they look in there and they don't see a phone, they're not gonna go in there, most likely. So I always put it away. But insurance it's like, insure your vehicle to the utmost value that it is, because we say things aren't replaceable, but trucks are definitely replaceable for the most part. And yeah, I think that's just it. Because I always think about that. If I go to a show and I have my gear and it's in a vehicle and someone takes that gear, because it's in a big black box, you know, if you look in a car and there's a black plastic box in there, there's only a couple things that are in there, and they're probably valuable. Right. Camera equipment or guns, because they're the same as gun cases, or something. Nobody keeps nothing in those. So it could get broken into and taken. So insurance.
I have a funny little story, just because like, so we're at West Coast one time, and we're out, it's late, you know, we're doing late night things, cruising around, having fun. Well, I was standing around, it was near Glenn's trailer, and like there was all these trucks like kind of parked around it. So I'm like done with the camera. So I just go set it down. I set it down in the truck. I leave. The next morning, this guy comes up to me and he hands me my camera, and I'm like, where did you get that? He's like, you put it in my truck. And it's a guy from Sunset, and he had his was a Toyota Extra Cab, but with a 4Runner front end and painted blue. So in my, you know, it was blue, kind of looked like a 4Runner, and the window was rolled down. And put it in there. That was funny. He's like, I think this is yours, and I'm like, oh my god. I've actually
I left my camera on our table at LST.
That just popped into my head. And then
Krista was driving and she looked over and she like, it's traffic backed up to get out of LST. So like, luckily she was stopped in front of our booth and she happened to look over and see my camera.
Yeah.
And then she got it for me. That was pretty crazy. But I think like when it comes to hotels, because the other part of his question was like deterrence. Like I don't think there's really anything you can do except for like put a club, the old OG clubs, on your steering wheel, or disconnect the coil wire, like put a kill, making it more as difficult as possible for thieves,
right,
to take.
It's a big problem also in like the lowrider scene too. Like every like Las Vegas Super Show, everybody's like, remember
that lowrider that got stolen from SEMA?
No.
So
it was in the trailer and everything. They took the whole thing.
No, I don't think it was in the trailer. I don't know. I could be wrong, but if you think about SEMA, that whole front area is just $200,000, $1 million vehicles. They're just sitting there.
Just chilling. Yeah.
Like there's a fence. I think there's a fence, but I don't think there always was a fence. Like you could just walk into the front area.
Are you talking about like outside the halls, like in that area? Like
along the street too.
Yeah,
Like all those vehicles that are just parked out there and people don't even. So I don't know. I don't think it's just one of those things where it's an unfortunate situation and it happens more than we know, and we don't think about it till it happens to us. But I mean, when I'm on these journeys across country and we don't have your trailer and I'm not with you, I have to put everything in the bed of my truck. Thousands and thousands of dollars worth of t-shirts and stuff. And I pull up to a hotel at midnight. That stuff stays in the bed of my truck.
Yeah.
I find a spot in the parking lot where it's like back in and there's a tree or there's something, but I either have to unload all that and put it in the hotel room. I do put some stuff in the cab and I take my camera equipment with me, but no, I wake up every morning when I do that and I look out there and I go,
hope for the best.
Still there,
still going forward.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but it's, I don't know, man. It's with his situation, he's going to have a rough time going to a show and sleeping in a hotel room. Like what you might do? Put a camper shell on your truck and sleep in the bed.
Oh, that's a good suggestion.
Because it sounds like, if you're onto the point where you're about like thinking in your head, like I'm going to hire some private security.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Another thing too is ask the hotels. A lot of times they'll let you do this. Park right in the front, underneath the awning. Like go up to the hotel manager and be like, "Hey, is it cool if I park my truck right here?" And if there is a security guard, give him $20.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
And like, "Hey man, my truck's right there.
Yeah.
Can you make sure it's right there all night long? Here's 20, 40, $50 or
however much it is." That's a good suggestion too. Those are great suggestions. Yeah.
So
hopefully that guy gets his truck back together, and it'd be a shame if like this this situation made him not go to shows anymore. That would suck.
It would suck, but I could see it.
I can understand it. Yeah.
Totally. It's just like anything else. When something devastating happens, like and he's going to have PTSD from now on
he's never going to forget it.
Going to any show. He's going to be like walking into the hotel and he's going to look back and go,
yeah, that's crazy. Because I've actually never had that happen, so I wouldn't actually really know how to feel.
Have you ever had your truck broken into or anything like that?
No.
Or your house broken into, anything like that?
No.
So I've had in high school, I had a little Toyota Tercel car, and someone broke into it in the parking lot and took my radio and my speakers.
Oh, wow.
And then I've had my truck in my driveway, in front of my driveway, get broken into and my stereo taken a couple of times.
Damn. It's such a, I mean, like I said, I don't know, but I would gather that's like a pretty violating feeling.
That's what it is. And my mom had her car stolen when we lived in Hemet, and she went to Chuck E. Cheese for a birthday party, and she came out and her car was gone.
That's crazy.
They found it a month later.
Wow.
And it felt weird. You get in it and you're just like, this is gross that someone else has been in my car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's a violate. Like, yeah, it's definitely a violating feeling.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Oh, so I don't know if we answered anything, but we definitely got some opinions in that one.
It's just good that these things bring up discussions too.
Yeah, for sure. This is a good one. This might cause some controversy, or maybe some, not controversy, but no, whatever. It says, what was your worst car show experience? That's a good one. I don't think I can't recollect like one experience. Well, I don't know. We've definitely had some bad things go down.
Yeah, because there's worst experience, worst financially experience would be like when we went to Mini Nats and the trailer got all messed up.
That was a big one.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
Now, but you got to put everything into like that. Like what happened to your trailer was something you needed to fix there or here.
That's true. Well,
it was more of like a maintenance thing, and it just was forced upon you to fix.
Right.
It wasn't like we were driving down the road and it broke.
So to let our listeners know what that situation was. So we were on our way to Mini Nats, and we get there, and I don't know. Hold on, let me start. We're on our way to Mini Nats. We get there super late at night, and if you remember, it was like raining. It was terrible. It was like super late. We were really tired. So we get there, we park the truck and trailer, we go in, sleep. The next morning I get up to go get something out of the trailer, and I'm like half asleep. And I look out and I look down, and I'm looking at the tire, and the whole inside of the tire is chewed up. Like it's showing metal. And I was like, but I'm still like super tired. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, we're gonna have to take care of that. And then, so I went back in and went back to sleep for a while. So after looking at it, what happened was the axle was bent. So the wheels were both cambered in, and they just ate the inside. So
the fact that you only noticed that the tread was gone and not that your tires were cambered only proves how long your tires were cambered. Because the year before, that was in March or that was in April, and Joe, C10 Vato's Joe, on the way home from LST was like, "What's wrong with Frank's trailer?" I'm all, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "He's got a gang of camber." And I'm all, I don't know. I think that's just how it is. Yeah, it was just like this. So the fact that you like looked down and this wasn't a thing, but the tire wear was.
Right. Well, no, hold on. This is all recollecting. Yeah. Because previous to that, and if you actually go watch that year's Mini Nats video, I forget what year it was. 19. Yeah. If you go back and watch the 19 video, in the beginning of the video, we're loading it, and I'm looking at it, and I did notice it, and you said, quote, "What are we going to do? Not go?"
This is true.
That's true. And now that I'm recollecting, then I was like, oh shit. Yeah. The inside of the tire was eaten up. So after figuring out, the axle was bent, the leaf springs were de-arched. And this was just from years and years and years of just going up and down the 10. Like many times we went to LST, and it was just, you're right.
And when you buy a trailer, especially if you buy an inexpensive trailer, the parts that they use on those trailers are garbage. Yeah. The tires, they're going to use the cheapest stuff possible. So just a heads up, if you have a trailer that you bought, just make sure that the stuff is good. Because they don't put expensive parts. Because you got upgraded leaf springs and stuff,
I didn't.
Remember?
No, we wanted to upgrade them. So that was the thing. So we were at the show, and we're like, all right, we need to take care of this. Like, we can't take this the way it is. And we ended up going to a Tractor Supply and buying all the parts. We bought a new axle, we bought leaf springs and new tires, and then put them all on. And so I didn't upgrade the leaf springs because in order to go to the next like size or whatever, they were the perches were wrong. So I wanted to, but the trailer guy that we ended up having fix it, and he's like, well, you're going to have to like cut these off and re-weld them. I was like, nah, screw it. We'll just replace it.
I just remember how amazing it was when after you got it, we're like, oh, that's what the trailer should look
I know.
like?
He got it raised like another 4 inches. It was
now
bad.
Every time you go on a trip, you're like putting your fingers in between the things to make sure.
Me.
I know.
You know me. I tend to get a little what's the right word?
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but I obsess.
Yeah.
And then actually like after that, so we did that and all the parts have hung in there. Like the axle is still in it. It's still fine. The new leaf springs are fine. But the tires were kind of garbage because you remember like that was at Mini Nats, and then we went to a couple other shows. Then we went up to Oregon, and the tires were already bald again. Yeah. And then that was another interesting thing because it had only, again, like we had to figure it out on the fly, was like the inside, the middle of the tire was gone. So the outside were fine.
They were overinflated.
I think they were no. Remember the tire guy was telling us they were underinflated. So what happens is like when they're underinflated, when it starts going, the inside sucks up and it starts. Oh, that's no.
Oh.
No, wait, I'm saying
I don't.
I'm saying
Whatever.
that wrong.
Yeah, I think it's when they're overinflated.
Right, but I said it wrong. The outsides were chewed up again. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So what the guy told, like our friend, I don't know who told us, but someone told us they're like overinflated, so you're just riding on the middle of the tire.
Oh, that's right.
And that's how we got it home.
It was Sean. He was Sean from Relaxed Atmosphere.
Okay, yeah. So that goes back. So I don't think the point is I don't think there's one time that I can say that was the worst one, because we've had all sorts of issues. That one year at LST when it just the sky opened up and just dumped all over us, and we had to leave early. That one was pretty bad. That one was pretty bad.
All these ones are going to be about
Sorry,
LST,
Lonnie.
Sorry, Lonnie. That one LST when we were driving out there and okay, so at the beginning of the year, you stock up on merch. I stock up on merch. Joe C10 Vato stocks up on merch. We're driving to LST and we get past El Paso, Van Horn, and we're getting towards Junction. It's nighttime, and I go, "Hey man, the weather might rain. What if it rains and we don't sell anything?" Mm-hmm. And we both looked at each other and we got real quiet for like the next hour was very like, "Oh, we didn't think about that." Yeah. And the weather ended up being, was it really crappy Thursday? Like it was real bad. We had to get wood and plastic.
Yeah.
And then it was fine on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was fine on Saturday. But then when we got back to the Airbnb, it rained all night and it rained all day, and we had to go and get our stuff on Sunday.
Yeah.
That one was mentally bad.
Yeah, that was mentally exhausting, because
in fact, there's been a couple LSTs that have messed me up mentally. I don't know why I keep going back to that show.
I was gonna say again, sorry, Lonnie, but some of our not so fun experiences have happened at LST.
Great memories though.
That's the thing. Like the thing with the trailer, I mean, and the thing with everything. Like I've said this before. I used to freak out, and really like get upset about stuff. But after I realized, like, when I started making videos, I realized like, hey, this is just all part of the journey. This is all just going to make for a good video for us to talk about, and good stories too. Because now, like, if it goes like smooth every single time, we're not going to really have anything to talk about. But now
that's kind of where we've been at the last couple of trips, and that's why I'm about to throw a wrench in this game, and you know what I mean. Like we're going to go to a show either in the OBS and something that's going to be completely different, and. Yeah, that's all. You know what I was thinking about that? I was like, okay, I'm starting this new journey of making videos, right? So I want to buy a truck, fix it up, and drive it to a show. That's kind of the thing. I think I've talked about that on here. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't know whatever. But you can't put that you can't put the whole story in your video because it's.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Because we're going to have to make the videos to where. At least I think mine will come out first and then your version of it.
Probably because I'm always behind.
Your version of it's going to be completely different than mine.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going to be the financial burden of the trip. So if my truck breaks down, I have to figure it out.
Yeah. But I mean,
so your point of view is going to be like the passenger that's like, crap, I want to get home. Like remember with Doug when we went to Orange Beach?
That was another thing. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so that was us, but we weren't necessarily like insanely financial. Like we didn't have to buy a new truck to get home.
Right.
We just got a ride. So it's going to be really fun watching the dynamic of those two things work out.
Yeah, but it's sort of because like that's the same thing with the trailer. Like that was my financial burden. Like I had to get the trailer repaired. I had to figure out how to get it repaired, pay for it repaired, and everything like that. But you gave me a lot of advice along the way. It wasn't like you were just standing back saying, okay, when are we leaving? It was like. And I think that's what, our relationship as we've gone on, that's where we help each other out. We're like, okay, let's figure this out.
Do you remember sitting in the parking lot at the Love's trucks? But we were at Love's in Lordsburg. I remember this vividly. We were coming home. I think we were coming home from LST or home from somewhere. And you had a leak on your transmission plug.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was the first time I saw Frank kind of freak out. And I had to look over at him and go, it's going to be fine, man.
Be fine. And that was, I think that was before the trailer incident too.
It was way before. Yeah, it was a couple years before.
I think like all of those little events led up to me being able to like get through these problems, have a little more I don't know, like open-mindedness to get through the problems.
Yeah. That was when we had to take that alternate route too,
because the
freeway was closed.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been so many times. Like, so yeah, I can't really point to like this was the worst.
You would think that like all of this would be on our videos because we document everything, but half of this stuff we're talking about isn't.
The trailer is in the one video. I think the only one that was the transmission one. But so like a lot of the times, like the trip home kind of gets put on the, like I never, like the trip home rarely gets into the videos, in my videos at least, because like, you know, we're like ramping up to the show, we're doing the show, and then at the show I said, okay, we're done, and then we head home. So I don't really show off that much, just because no other reason than I think it's not very interesting. You know,
it's not usually like we just want to put the cameras back in the cases and just get in the truck and go.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like there was that instance with the transmission. There's the time we ran out of gas on the way back from LST.
Oh, in the worst possible.
On the side of the freeway, yeah. I mean,
in El Paso, like with barely any room.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there have been a lot of little things, but not one thing that I said that was the worst. And actually, like I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that like I said, there's no like one show that was absolutely terrible, because actually every show, not every show, but when it's bad, there are still some good parts. So like if I was to like look back on like when the trailer broke down, like the good part about that was the one that we went on vacation, you know, like when we went, we had the wives and we, you know, went to Nashville and then we went down to Bama.
That wasn't the Nashville one.
Oh, that wasn't?
No, that Nashville one we just did last.
Then that was the one that we went down to New Orleans.
It was the one we went to New Orleans.
Okay, that was the one we went to New Orleans, and so that was awesome. And then even like LST, like when LST, like the weather isn't so great, and you know things happen. Like this last LST, it was just so cold, and you know we talked about that. But the cool part was you know we still were there, we're still hanging out with the club. We still went and remember like the hanging out with the club at that B&B and doing all those like
I'm having this thought in my head while you're saying if you want to ask who about the worst times going to shows, you're asking the wrong two people. You need to ask Doug.
Oh yeah,
Doug has had some terrible experiences, and they've all been while I was driving.
That's true. That is true.
So,
but yeah, Doug has had some bad ones. The way back in the very first trip we took to Scraping the Coast, and his trailer broke.
His trailer was a torsion axle trailer, and he had to basically end up replacing all the axles with leaf springs and new axles and leaving it in Texas, and then he had to buy a new truck on one trip.
We had to buy a new truck.
New truck.
That I made a video of that. So if you on the Custom Life channel, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know where this video's at.
We both made videos on that.
You made a video of that?
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, I gotta refresh my memory on that one because I thought it was just me. I made a video.
No, we both did.
Oh, okay, but that was. I mean, sorry for Doug having to buy a brand new truck, but that weekend was cool because we didn't go to the show, but we ended up hanging out, you know, at your pad in Phoenix, and then I shot Will's truck for a little feature on the channel. Like that was fun. So
yeah,
I guess it's just trying to find the silver lining in things.
That's the
except
thing.
for Doug.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing. Everything besides the trailer incident with Doug, that was pretty random. Everything that happens is going to happen regardless. Like your trailer needed that maintenance done. Doug's truck was going to, that happened on that trip. But the problem with Doug's truck was the whole DEF thing, or that whole system right there. Like
it was the canister that it was like a charcoal canister of some
it's
thing.
It's all part of the emissions on the diesel truck.
Right. Yeah.
That was going to happen regardless of that truck. Unfortunately, those trucks that just happens to all the time. So he was going to have to face that problem eventually. So I'm trying to think of like a trip related. I don't think there's been like a thing that because we were on the trip that it happened, or like. Let's just say that it'll probably be in our future, not in our past.
Maybe. I often wonder that too. You know, as I was hanging out with Vic at the end of the year mini truck meetup, and we're because we both got there super early, so we're like waiting for everybody. So we're just like chatting, and he goes, "Man," he's like, "Are Titans just really good trucks?" And I was like, "Not necessarily."
No.
He's like, "You guys just like jump in these things," and he's all, "Do you just you have that much faith in your truck?" And I was like, "Again, no. It's just it is what it is." And we've sort of like, you know, come to the thought that like eventually they're gonna fail on us, and when that happens, we'll take care of it.
Titans have very, very, very good drivetrains. So the motors, the transmissions, the rear ends, as long as you don't let all the oil leak out of them. But everything around the truck is made very, very cheaply.
Yeah.
The interiors are plasticky and they break because they get real brittle.
And my seat, I just thought it was, you know, just the way I slide in and out of the truck, but that's like a Titan thing too, because the upholsterer was telling me that they use just really thin material.
Yeah.
So that's why they just wear down so fast.
Go online, search Titans for sale. Every picture from looking into the driver's seat is either
you can't see
the seat because the seat's just busted. So
yeah.
If you ever want to know what happens to Titans, ask one of us because I can.
What should I look out for when I'm buying a Titan? Let me get the list.
Replace the radiator ASAP.
I have.
Okay, you need to replace your radiator because you know what happens to those, right?
Something with the transmission.
Yeah, the transmission cooling lines run through your radiator to cool, and they break inside the radiator, and they mix. And once that happens, your transmission fails instantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So take that radiator out, go buy a new radiator and put it in. The new radiators are made much better than the old ones.
All right. I'm going to do that before LST.
I would, they're not that.
I got to buy tires too.
Oh God, I hate buying tires.
Yeah, I know. It sucks.
It's like, but you have to buy them, but it's just like, they're so expensive. Don't buy cheap tires, buy good tires. That's why you're buying tires more than you don't.
I know. I have gone in the last, I would say probably 4 or 5 years, not counting like COVID. That time doesn't count. But I've went through I think 2 or 3 sets of tires.
Are you still buying all terrains?
Oh no. I've switched to the
regular street tires.
Yeah, the regular street tires. I made that mistake once and I learned from it. But I'm still buying cheap tires.
I bought all terrains. I was like, these look so cool, and I'm all, why'd these wear out so fast?
Yeah, that was one of these ones that I've had on it actually lasted a lot longer than the previous ones, but that's why.
So the ones that I bought, these last ones, they have an 85,000 mile warranty.
Yeah.
And they will last probably longer than the truck will.
See, and I just need to buck up and
also go to Discount Tire.
And that's the same as America's Tire.
America's Tire, Discount Tire, because you can get.
You say go or don't go?
Go.
Don't go.
No.
I go there all the time.
No, go. Not don't go. Go.
Oh, you're confusing.
Okay. Go to America's Tires. Because they have they free rotations and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. I definitely get all that.
Yeah.
But so I've had such a bad time with that place too. Like the Titan's fine, you know, whatever. They're just regular tires. But every time I take because the Camry has, you know, custom wheels on it, and every time I take it in there, something happens. And it's funny because I went in there, got some new tires on a set of wheels, and they stripped one of the caps. So one of the bolts is stripped. It's tight, but it strips, and so that's an issue that I got to figure out. So this last time I took it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be proactive about this because I had to go in and get a flat because I had the warranty of go get a flat repair. So I said, okay, I'm gonna take the cap off this wheel because I'm not gonna give them any excuse. So I take the cap off the wheel, go inside. Yeah, it's it was the right, I don't know, remember, but it's let's say it's the driver's side front wheel. So the driver's side front wheel has something in it. It says, all right, cool, no problem. And I said, I took the cap off. That way you guys don't have to worry about it. So, okay, cool. So then he goes and does their thing, comes back. He's like, all right, well, we got that passenger front wheel taken care of. And I was all, you mean the driver's front wheel? He's like, no, on the paperwork, it says passenger front wheel. And it said it had a nail in it. I was like, oh, well, that's coincidental because so does the other one. Well, I didn't take the other cap off.
Oh,
nothing happened, but I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, I'm going to be proactive about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the cap off. And then they just do the complete wrong wheel.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my rant for that.
Yeah. I've had, I really like I used to go to the cheapy like shop right by our house, kind of in the hood, you know, and like they were really good because they remembered who I was. So I'd go in there and they would rotate for free. But you know, the tires were not good tires and they wore out really fast. And I was like, so this last one, I did the same thing. I like bucked up. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy the cheapest tires I can find. I'm going to buy these good ones. And it was.
I think that's what I'm going to have to do this time.
It's so worth it, man. Like and you feel good afterwards. Like I remember after I did it, I was like, I feel good. I have like good tires on my truck and it's going to last a long time. And like, so.
That's funny. Yeah. Jaime, I was telling Jaime about all this wheel drama and he's all basically like Discount Tire, America's Tire. It's like McDonald's. Like you go there, it's hot, it's food, tastes okay, but it's really not good for you. You know?
What do you mean?
just like because you know like all the problems I've had with them stripping out the wheels or scratching a wheel or like all this other stuff.
That could happen at any shop though.
To every shop I've ever taken it to, except for Jaime. Jaime hasn't scratched any of the wheels, but every other shop that I've taken it to.
But that's the thing, right?
Has somehow scratched the wheels.
There is a Jaime at every shop. So as long as you can find that guy at that shop to take care of you, then you're good.
Next time I go to Discount Tire, I'm just going to walk in. I'm like, all right, who's not the idiot here?
That'll work.
Yeah, no, that'll work.
There's a Firestone down the street from my house, and I won't go there anymore. It's just like they just like seem kind of like they didn't care. It's kind of like whatever.
Yeah,
and you kind of. I was like being real judgy when I was looking at all the people in there. I'm all, I don't think these guys know what they're doing.
Right. That's funny.
You go to America's Tire and they're all happy and chipper because they like that's part of their whole thing. They're like,
oh really?
Yeah. I went. It's funny because I went to America's Tire to mount the tires on the 22s, and I bought the tires online because I'm buying cheap. When I buy low profile tires, I buy cheap tires. So I went to and they're like, "What are these going on?" And I was like, "Oh,
that's the worst question."
I know. And I was like, "Oh, Chevy truck," and he's like, "Oh yeah, we can't do that."
Yeah.
So I drove down to the hood and got them there because they don't care what they're going on. They just
I know. I got to go do that because I got a nail like right on like close to the sidewall.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking that to Discount Tire. I'm going over to the other shop and be like, hey man, fix this. And they're like, no problem, dude.
I know. And in that aspect, when you look at that, you're like, actually Discount Tire is not McDonald's. They're actually really good because they're not going to do like, they're not going to serve you a piece of food that could kill you when you're driving down the road with a patched tire that shouldn't have been patched.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I know. I just thought of that right now. I was like, well,
yeah, fair enough.
I could be driving my Chevy and the tire blows and I fly into a ditch because there's too much weight. Like we could be driving to Texas in my truck, right? Yeah. Towing your enclosed trailer on these tires that should not be able to hold the weight. And we pop a tire and we drive into the ditch and we both die. And then
we go. Really, I don't like where this is going.
As we're flying in the ditch, we're like looking at each other and we're going, should have listened to the guy at America's Tire, huh?
Oh my God. Moving on. This is getting too dark. Moving on.
I mean, it's true. Tires have weight ratings for a reason.
Yeah, that is true.
You don't cook your chicken medium rare because the people that know what they're talking about go, you probably should make that 100.
You should probably cook that a little longer.
Cook that a little longer. You might die.
Oh man. All right. Well,
what were we talking about?
I don't know what we're talking about. We're going to talk about something else. We got a couple more questions. I don't know how long we've been going on. I'm kind of lost in this whole thing because we're recording 2 episodes. Had to take a couple breaks.
I'll tell you.
Had to go pick up the kid.
I'll tell you right now how much the first one we went 37 minutes and we're at 17 minutes now. But the first part of this, I think we were just crapping. So we're like 45 minutes.
All right, cool. So, I got another question, and I think this is a good one because I think.
Are we going to talk about dying again?
No, we're not talking about that anymore. I already have a complex with that. We're not doing that anymore.
Oh man. Okay.
So underscore doobie on Instagram asks where to start on when building a mini truck. So I think he's asking like, you get your first truck, what do you do? I think that's pretty good because I've noticed that like over the past few episodes talking about Dockweiler, talking about just the different topics we've been talking about. We've been talking about like basic trucks, starter trucks.
I'll let you know. if you watch the Grinder TV YouTube channel coming up soon.
I was gonna kind of let that sit, but yeah.
But since this is coming out on the 16th, I might already have a video made for that.
No, maybe, but you don't want to.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. But if you were to give someone like advice like this guy, I don't know if he's like, I don't know if he's just getting into the scene or like what's going on with him. But and I think that's a good question because I think a lot of people, a lot of guys who are starting out, they're like, well, I've had a few people ask me, where to get parts. And of course, I tell them to go to switchsuspension.com and they can get all of their parts from switchsuspension.com, whatever they need.
I have a little bit of experience with this because I've been in the market for a truck. So if we want to just talk about the buying experience of a mini truck, we can touch on that. Like there's some good price trucks out there, depending on what you're looking for. Like I've been finding trucks under $3,000 that run and drive and all that stuff, and
that's pretty surprising.
Yeah, you just have to be. It's a process because
are any of them Toyotas?
No,
that's the thing.
But not everybody wants a Toyota.
That's true,
and that's a big thing too. Like if Toyotas, you're not going to find in great condition for under $4,000. You can, depending on your skill level too. Like if you're good at body work and you can do body work, you can find trucks all day long. Toyotas too. If you know how to do interior work and if you're really savvy at finding parts, because a lot of these trucks that I've been finding under $3,000, the interiors are blown out. Right? They're like, some have no interior. Like you can find trucks under $2,000. They don't have interior in them, or they're just beat up. So. Some people are real savvy at finding parts, and I know like I've been finding a lot of parts trucks. I found a couple wrecked mini trucks where they had parts in them. So depending on what you want to, like the level you want to be at when you buy the truck, starting out, like if you just want to start out buying a truck that runs and drives, you can just find one on OfferUp just that runs and drives, and then you can slowly start to put it together as you're driving it. Like if it's going to be your daily and you just want to enjoy it and drive it around, you can drive it around and look for parts at parts places, junkyards, and finding people's like wrecked trucks on Facebook Marketplace and going and getting handles. And that's, I think that's the fun part about mini trucking,
That's it's part of the process.
The DIY process of that is fun. And it's what mini trucking was all about. Working in your garage, finding parts, making things work. Essentially, and that's all I got with that. You can definitely find deals out there on running, driving trucks. You just have to do your due diligence.
Yeah, my thought on it is, I've kind of been in two different places. Like one is like, maybe you want to get into this. Like you see trucks, people having trucks, bag trucks, and you just want to get into it. I think you can find bag trucks that are pretty affordable out there still. I think there are deals out there, or if you want to take a different approach, like you're saying, like find a clean truck and pick it up and then just start acquiring parts and put it together at your own pace. Like I kind of like if I was to build another truck, I think that's the route that I might take is like get something that I know is that I want. Like first find the truck that I want, the right truck that I want. Cause I think what happens is when people buy like they have the mindset in their head that they're going to go out and buy something already bagged to kind of be ahead of the game. They might end up, and this has happened to me, you might end up in something that you really didn't want. And that's actually how I ended up in so many Mazdas. Like
that's also how you ended up with bad experiences with certain things.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a twofold problem.
Because if you're it goes back to budget. Right? Like if you want a bag, you're not finding nowadays, you're not going to find a bag truck under, I will say $7,000. That's not a pile of crap.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's not going to cost you more in the end. So again, where's your budget at? Do you even want a bag truck? If you don't want a bag truck, this gets way easier. If you do want a bag truck, again, your skill set. Can you buy someone else's project and do it on your own? Can you buy someone else's? Can you throw another couple grand and find something that's more drivable? also find out why that person's selling it.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, I've had so many trucks that I've gotten into that, and you're right. A lot of the stuff that I'm uneasy about or sketchy about is because I've had bad past experiences, which is exactly why I'm at where I'm at now. Like one with the 4Runner, like that, the 4Runner, when I got it, I just got it and then, saved enough money to take it to this shop to do it. Where I think the next one, I'm going to be a little more proactive about it and just like start gathering parts, like buy the air management system, buy the wheels, and then piece it all together and then take the next step. I think is what I would do differently on this next round.
Yeah. It's what I've been doing with the OBS. And
well, I see you do it. And Jake from our club in Texas, he's really good at it too.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. Cause if you can buy like, not everyone has an extra 10 grand sitting around to get your truck bagged, but you do have every once in a while an extra $400 to buy your compressors. And then boom, you put those away. And then a month later you buy a tank. And then a month later you buy, if you are going to run an air management system, you can buy that, or you can buy your switch box and your valve block or whatever, you know what I mean? Like getting a lot of that out of the way really helps the budget.
And, like sometimes it helps the builder too, because like your OBS is currently at Pandas and he
it's not there yet, but it's not there yet.
Oh, okay. It's not there yet.
It's sitting on the side of my yard.
Okay.
Sitting on the side of my house.
Anyway, moving on.
Actually, it might be there now. I'm going to actually message him at this. So let's just
say that sometimes it helps the builder out because they're like, they just want to build it. They don't want to, have to go through and source all the parts.
That's very, depends on the builder too.
I would imagine.
And that goes into the planning things like you were talking about. Like who, if you already know who's going to build your truck, you need to talk to them about that because, they might not want a 5-gallon tank. They might want
that's true. Yeah.
this, or they might want this, or it's all very different.
I think of what the main theme that we're saying here is, and we've said this many times before, is like have a plan, like plan it out.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best advice I think that we can give this person, how to start. Like, I want to build a mini truck. Where do I start? With a plan.
And the very basic plan is, like you said, what do you want? Like, you know what you want. Okay. So you're like, I'm going to get that. And you know what's involved with bagging that. So like, if you just want a mini trucks are all different. Toyotas, Nissans, Mazdas, they all have torsion bars. So you can crank the torsion bars, throw a set of $250 spindles on the front and it's lowered. S10s, Mitsu's, other trucks have coil springs. And so they're totally different. So that you might want to think about, okay, if the truck that you're buying, it depends on if you're very particular to a brand or a style. If you're not, then you got to go, okay, well then how much money do I have to put into it afterwards?
Yeah. No, that's
like Mazdas are harder to find certain parts for than say Toyotas.
Or actually also Toyotas are harder to find parts for than like an S10.
It depends on which parts.
Well, like, yeah.
So I would say Toyotas and S10s are probably the easiest to do.
Oh, really?
They made the most of them.
Okay.
If you're thinking about like Mazdas, no one cares about Mazdas, so they just threw them away. Like Toyota stayed around. They stayed on the road longer. There's still more like plentiful of them out there. So there are more parts available for them.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. And that's definitely a good point, is like, know what you're getting into. Know that if you are dead set on a particular vehicle, know like you're going to have to do extra work. And like good example of that is the 4Runner. Like when I first had the idea, like I wanted to bag a 4Runner, I went and talked to Bobby and he had to explain to me like, well, you're going to have to swap the frames. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive 4Runners are both built on 4-wheel drive frames. So they need to be swapped first. And so that information right there changed like the whole plan. Like, okay, well, luckily I made out and found a truck that had already been swapped.
Yeah.
But for a while there, I was like, well, that idea is kind of out the window because now I'm going to have to find 2 trucks, So
actually, you could have just had Bobby build a frame.
That's true.
The money that you would spend on 2 trucks, you save the money on 1 truck and just have him build a chassis.
Yeah, but you would still at least need the front. I don't know. Hey, I'm not a builder. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. But at the time, that was the way it was explained to me.
Yeah.
My point is that like you have to know what you're getting into with any particular vehicle. Is what my point is.
Because I was like, me and Matt Dower from Canada always have conversations like, and this kind of goes into a couple more of these questions about like if you had unlimited funds, what would you build? So this kind of can answer that too. We always will send like, I want a Ford Taurus wagon.
Okay.
You would never think that that's cool, but they are sick.
Yeah.
And there's just random things that are super cool. And I think one of my favorite ones is like the square body F-150s from the 80s and into the 90s. I think those trucks look absolutely sick, body dropped and bagged and stuff.
Well, like that red one from that Fat Fabs is building.
Yeah. So
That's
like
dope.
That style of truck to me is cool. But then, so I started like, I'm going to look on OfferUp and look on Marketplace and see how much they are. They're cheap. The problem is finding parts for those, and not engine parts or anything like that, because you're usually you can throw a new engine in, but like interior pieces, panels, dashes, those trucks have all been thrown away for the most part. And so that translated when I started looking for a mini truck. I was like, ooh, a Mitsubishi would be cool. Try to find interior pieces for a Mitsubishi.
Right.
Versus finding them for a Toyota, a Nissan, S10. Like Toyotas and Nissans tended to stay on the road for a very long period of time.
That makes sense.
And S10s, they just made a good jabillion of them.
Yeah. And then you can just drive it and throw away and get another one.
You could just drive down the street and look on the side of the road and go, there's an S10 over there. I'm going to go grab the dash out of it.
Yeah.
or a C10 or, you know, all that stuff. So I don't know if there's all that stuff is you take it. Like I think you said it the best. It's like you just have to have a plan.
Yeah. I think that's the first thing anybody who wants to start getting into it, that's the first thing you got to figure out is what's the plan. Because I've done both. Like I said, I've gotten no plan, just like, I want that. Like, actually, that's how I ended up. So I think I've explained this before, but it's worth it again. Like, I started with a pretty nice S10. Like, I picked up, I started with an OBS that I traded for the S10. So we're talking specifically about mini trucks. So I got the S10 and it was not bad. It wasn't great, but it was not bad. It had a proper 4-link in it. It was pretty decent. Well, then I got bored. And I was like, okay, well, what do I want next? So I got into a Mazda that had this like crazy paint because I wanted something that was flashy. And then, so by the time I kept on like trading down, like by the time I got to the end, I had it was like a Nissan hard body that was, because I wanted a body drop. Like I wanted a body drop. I don't care what it is. Well, I ended up with this Nissan that was just a complete pile of crap.
It's so easy to say when you're younger and you don't have like, in your brain, you're like, I can't afford to go get a flashy paint job, right? So but that one already has it, so I'm just going to go get that one.
That's exactly what happened.
Not realizing everything underneath that is just a crap show.
Yeah.
Or like same with you're like, it's going to cost a lot of money to body drop this truck, but that one's already body dropped, but not realizing that everything else about the truck's just a pile of crap.
And then like you were like nailing it on like right on the head.
Because we've all done it.
Because that's what happened.
We've all done it. Yeah.
And like it was just like, you know, I could just kind of like show off to everybody like, yeah, I'm getting a body drop. Yeah, I'm getting a body drop next. I'm getting a body drop.
It goes back to buzzwords.
Yeah,
It's probably why you hate buzzwords so much, right? Is because you fell victim to the buzzwords.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yep. That's exactly what happened.
I hate billets because the billets I had sucked. Yeah, but the billets you had were square because they were beat to crap.
Because they were already cracked.
But they were still
leaking.
billets. And then remember, you're like, I don't like body drops. Well, because the body drop you had
was a nightmare.
We're peeling back the layers of these onions
You're
here,
right,
man.
Right. That Nissan was so bad. So it was a standard cab hard body dropped. And to make matters even more complicated and worse, someone put an independent rear suspension in it out of an RX-7.
Oh my God. That's another mod that I was the same thing. I was like, I want an independent rear suspension because I would like
you want the camber. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, actually those suck. Independent rear suspensions suck.
And I'm about to make a little hot statement here. Okay. because I know there are like a few, and eventually we're going to get to the episode where we talk about overseas trucks. And there's a Toyota from Australia. It's pretty sick, but it has an independent rear suspension in it. I don't think it looks good.
It's hard.
Because you're so and again, hot take. And if the person who owns that truck is watching, I'm not being an asshole. All I'm saying is just like, because you're so conditioned that the back of a truck goes straight up, that when it's cambered out like that, it almost looks like weird.
It has to be the right. It just like anything else. It has to be the right wheel. It's getting all caught up here. The right wheel setup and everything like that, and it can't be overly done. Like just because it has an IRS doesn't mean it has to be
Cambered way out
like this.
Yeah, that's true.
So imagine the truck, and it's just like barely, and almost to where you have to look at it and go, is it straight up and down, or is it not straight up?
I think
I feel the same way like with chop tops. I want to look at it. I want to look at a chop top and go, is it? I don't know. Is it? You know, a chop top that's like you could, like Jose's truck, remember?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even sit in the dang thing.
I guess now that he doesn't have that truck anymore, maybe we could be a little rip on it a little bit.
No, I'm
just kidding, Jose.
That truck was sick. You know what I mean? Because it was
that one
door
also
and
have
chopped.
That also had an independent rear suspension in it, didn't it?
It did.
That's right. Yeah.
Man, Jose, your truck sucks.
Sorry, Jose. Don't worry. When he finally listens to this episode in like 7 months,
I know.
he'll be like, hey.
Are they talking about me? Yeah, that's right. That truck sucked. It's just like, when people go into the doors or anything extreme, which is why mini trucks are so awesome, is because we're not scared to do the extreme.
Yeah.
And then pull back
and then dial
bit.
it back and make it like refine a little bit. Yeah.
Dial it in. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what we were talking about, but we're talking about that Nissan with the independent rear suspension. Yeah, that thing was like, I couldn't drive it low.
Where's that truck now?
This is hilarious. So every year I get a registration in the mail telling me to pay the registration on it because I traded it, I sold it to a guy who traded it. And by the time it's probably in a junkyard somewhere, but it's funny. I still get a registration every year saying, hey, you need to pay the registration on this truck.
That truck's sitting in Landers in someone's freaking backyard, dude. There's so many houses. Like if you take off from your house and head east on Bear Valley Road, what's that town that you go?
Lucerne.
Lucerne. All that area from like there all the way to Lucerne. There's just random crap sitting in people's yards. There's probably so many trucks like that sitting in people's backyards.
It's funny. Like I was going. There's another street down here. Anyway, so random street, and I'm like just cruising. I look over, and I see this guy that I know his Scion sitting in there, and it's all wrecked. And I was like, oh wow, that's weird. The same thing. It's like, man, how'd that end up in that yard? And then also next to it was a bagged and bodied Toyota pickup. And actually, there's a few other bag trucks in there, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So then later on, I see the guy, and I was like, hey, I saw your car just sitting in this random house. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh yeah, I moved. So that was the first funny thing. Like that was his house that he moved. The other funny thing was the Toyota next to it. I'm all, man, the Toyota next to it's like actually pretty nice. Like it was bodied on a nice set of wheels, and I'm like, man, that's really nice. What's up with that one? And it turns out it was the truck that the Fat Fabs guys were building on their Mini Truck Sunday, that series that they were doing. It's not until you stop and start like really looking around, you don't realize what's hanging around. You know?
I would love to do if I just had. I think one of the things I would love to do if I had all the time in the world, is get in a motorhome or whatever, and then take my drone and just drive down roads and fly over people's houses to see what's in their backyard.
Yeah.
Dave Prater sent me a picture. He moved to Oklahoma, and so in order for him to search Facebook Marketplace and find wheels and stuff like that, he has to drive to like Missouri to get these wheels now.
Oh yeah,
it's not just
it's just not in this.
He's like, I found a set of wheels. They're in Missouri. I'm all, isn't that like 3 states north of you? But so he drove up there, and then he sends me this photo of this mini truck just sitting in this field in Missouri, and I'm just like, there's so many of those around, and it'd be amazing to go find them.
Yeah, no, that'd be really cool. Yeah, that'd be definitely really cool.
Take like a 3-month trip and just drive around and find cool stuff.
Yeah. That's like when people talk about like their retirement. We're like, oh man, I can't wait to travel and like go fishing in a bunch of places. We're like, no, we just want to cruise around, look in people's backyards.
I'll also do fishing, but I will also look for trucks in people's backyards.
Yeah, right on.
I don't know how to fish. I'm not good at it.
Me neither. Anyway. So yeah, that was a good question. So yeah, if you like the way back to the original question, if you want to get started in this, just jump in it and have a plan and see what happens.
Have a plan and execute that plan.
Yeah, and stick to it.
And stick to it. That's a good thing too. It's hard to stick to it when you have very limited choices.
And that's the other thing about like kind of like if you're going to take the route of picking the truck you want to build, gathering parts, like doing all this stuff, you have to have some patience too, because like me personally, like I was saying that earlier, like that's what I want to do on my next build. I'm going to have a hard time because like sometimes my mind just like, I can't sit still.
Yeah. There's some people out there I know, like Dave Pratter's probably the number one person of no patience. Like he has a truck that's sick right now that's sitting on a trailer, and he just moved. So he's like trying to get all this stuff. But he's like, I want a truck to drive right now. So he's like sending me photos of this Mazda that's for sale from one of our Texas guys that super sick. He's like, I'm just going to buy this to drive this now.
Yeah.
While I work on my other Mazda over here. And I was like, yeah, do it. And
you're enabling him.
Yeah. That's that text I showed you the other night when he was like, you used to give me good advice. Now I just think you don't care.
Do you, that's so funny. Me and Angie just said this yesterday. Do you remember what he said to you at Rolling in the Red Rocks? He said, thank you for your enthusiasm, but you've led me down too many wrong paths.
No, he said, I appreciate your enthusiasm. That's a nice way of telling Brian to shut up. I don't want your opinion, because I obviously am really good at giving my opinion on things.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just remembered that yesterday. It was so funny. Me and Andrew were cracking up. It was so funny.
That's so many times that you've wanted to tell me that.
Meh.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but you need to shut up.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, cool.
All right.
How long have we been going here?
We're over an hour.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to edit some stuff down because we took a couple little breaks here. I had to do this. I had to get the dogs. Everything's going crazy. But yeah. Well, it was a good episode. Good couple episodes. We knocked out a good couple episodes today. And
hopefully the episode after this, I can finally talk about what I want to talk about.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be really good. Yes. But I'm going to go get my teeth pulled in a few days. So we'll see after that. See what happens.
All right. Someone's calling me from Benson, Arizona. I'm going to decline that call.
All right. All right, cool. All right, well, as always, go check out our websites, livelifecustom.com, grinder-tv.com. We have giveaways. I think by this time this comes out, we're still doing the AccuAir giveaway.
Oh, we'll be doing it through February.
All right, so go check. We're giving away an AccuAir E-Level Plus kit. Go to either one of our websites. Every $5 you spend, you get one entry to the drawing, and we'll be doing that sometime.
All
right, cool. All right, we'll see you next week. Later. Bye.